Well, I mean, I hear in coaching conversations every day how anxious people are feeling, and we are in, I know this is an overused word, but this is really unprecedented. And I think what causes a lot of extra anxiety is we don't really know where we are on the arc of all of this. Are we on the tail end? Are we in the middle? And when I say all of this, it's just really all the global disruption, the pandemic just being one factor. So there is an acronym VUCA that has been used in the past to describe not only the workplace, but just the world in general. And the acronym stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And what is happening now is all these conversations about change and disruption in the workplace. That acronym has been feeling incomplete and insufficient, that, we need like next level description to kind of capture the reality of what's going on. And there is a futurist by the name of Jame Castillo who has termed a new acronym, which is BANI, B-A-N-I.
Walk me through that acronym.
So the acronym stands for brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible. So it's sort of just like an enhancement of, not only are things sort of volatile and uncertain and all that, but really it's sort of adding a layer of the mass disruption. And this is not just in the workplace, this is just what's going on in our world. And it's important to name it. It's important to understand the impact and the seriousness of it. And I think the balance that we have to walk is, how do we not catastrophize, because that's not going to be helpful for our mental health and well-being. Yet we also want to not minimize the seriousness and the impact that all this is having on people and families.
So as much as we can work on our physical fitness, can we work on our psychological fitness?
When we are amidst overwhelm or all of these things that we can't control, I think it's important to zoom out, acknowledge that, but then also to zoom in and look at, okay, let's have the discernment to understand what can we control and localize that. So what can I control with my own mental state, and what can I help and support my community around me to help them enhance their psychological fitness. There are practices that we can engage in depending on where we are on that. Breathing exercises, this is an immediate accessible intervention. There's in order to generate calm within ourselves, there's a breathing practice called 4-7-8, where we breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 7, and breathe out for 8. And it works. So if we're finding ourselves tense and stressed and anxious, it is like a go-to neurobiological practice that can produce immediate calm. And a couple other things, I always suggest people look in your lives to find things that are bringing you energy, try to do and engage in more of that, whether it's the people that we're around, and look for energy drainers. What are the things that are in our immediate sphere that are draining us? And whether it's too much Netflix or too much wine, or, fill in the blank, everybody kind of has their outlets, but to be really intentional about making these changes can really impact and enhance our mental health.
And one of the suggestions you had, which I found very interesting, was letting go of resisting what we don't like. What does that mean?
Yes. So there is something called a psychological equation of suffering, which basically is pain times or multiplied by resistance. And this is just kind of the psychological construct that we're all going to have negative experiences and painful things that we have to deal with in our lives. The more we resist accepting those elements that we can't control, the more suffering we take on. So the antidote then really is accepting what we can't control and letting go of that. And that doesn't mean compromising or giving up or engaging in learned helplessness. It's just really moving to a place of acceptance so that we can free up some emotional bandwidth.